Okay, so guys, I know if you're here, you probably came to attack me to know what I want to talk about, or you have questions, just like so many other persons that would have been at that stage in their life where they want to find out if God actually does exist. So keep watching and we'll find our answers. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new on here and you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Ada Adetunji. Make yourselves comfortable, go through the playlist, you'll find a couple of contents you would enjoy. Share, watch, and while at that, make sure to click on the subscribe button and also on the notification bell so that you get the videos as soon as I upload them. My all-time favorite viewers, thank you so much guys for your support. Okay, so guys, on today's episode I'm going to be answering the question, does God actually exist? And this video is inspired by my friend, a colleague of mine, Marvis, who is also a YouTuber, who was bold enough to share her testimony. And I think I beat myself up to it yesterday, and I was asking myself why I held back all the while. So this is me coming out openly to also share my testimony. Whatever Marvis shared on that platform yesterday is actually nothing but the truth. She called to tell me that there's a guy she was talking with, and after 2 weeks Marvis called me that they've gone for introduction, and I was like, what? Are you sure? Because I knew every part, I knew every journey, from when she got engaged to when they went for introduction to their civil wedding. I mean, at that point, even myself, I was scared for her. Like, these things are happening so fast within a month, like everything, you know. And this was it. My baby coming here to share before the whole world actually pushed me. It inspired me to come here to also share my story. Now, this is my own story. Okay, so guys, sometime on this platform I've come to share my 10 years journey, you know, staying on a particular role for almost 10 years in my career. And I made that story seem easy, guys. A lot happened within those years. Yes, a couple of mistakes from my own part. But when I realized what I needed to do to grow my career, disappointment started setting in left, right, center. At some point, I started beefing God. Like, I stopped going to church. I stopped praying. You don't pray near me. You don't sing near me. I believed God never existed, and this I started suspecting village people. The depression was coming because few persons I confided in. First one, my husband, made it look like, what should be just there? Is there anything? If you're tired, come out, I'll be paying you. But it wasn't that easy. I mean, for someone who has stayed on a career for a long time, who has tested the freedom of money and all, no matter how much he gives me, it wasn't as if it's my own money. And you know, guys, it's not as if he's going to wake up one morning and say, oh yeah, take whenever I ask. So those were depressing. Okay, so I had a couple of persons coaching me. I'd polished my CV, I'd updated my profile on LinkedIn, I'd done a couple of things I needed to do to get roles. I started interviewing. Different interviews I went for, is either I reached the final stage, or they don't call me back, or when I submit my CVs, they don't call me, or some would tell me they couldn't afford me, or they were willing to pay me well lesser than what I was earning. Then the last that happened, I had negotiated for my price. Like, the remuneration actually did make sense. What remained for me was to go and price a private jet, because I called my husband, I was willing to relocate and all those. And eventually it became, they had asked me to send some particulars, they've asked for a couple of things, and then they turned off. They weren't accessible, they weren't reachable, they weren't calling me, they weren't returning my, what is happening? Like, at that point I knew something was totally off, because I had done a couple of things I needed to do from my own part. Then one morning I called my boss and I broke down. I started telling him that yes, I was looking strong for the team, because I was the oldest in the team. I was looking strong, trying to motivate the younger ones, trying to inspire them. But all these things aren't easy for me. And the cocoa is, the boss that I was talking to we joined the same time, the same day, you know, so you can imagine that. But he was someone that actually did understand me, and I have maximum respect for him. Our work relationship was beyond what we had in our workplace. We were friends. Okay, so that morning he allowed me rant, he allowed me talk, and then he said something. Anurika, have you spoken to God? all these things you're telling me, have you told God the same way? Because I bared all my worries, all my concerns, my grievances, I poured it down, and he allowed me cry. And then I remembered I've been trying to do a couple of things my way, looking for coaches, looking for people to polish my CV, but I've never really told God, this is it, this is what I want. Yes, on the surface I've been praying, yeah, God help me, if I go for this interview, God help me, I want to get this role, but he asked me if I have really asked God or told God what I wanted for myself. And at that point, I knew I hadn't done any of those. After our conversation that morning, I told him I wasn't in the right frame of mind because I was all teary. My eyes were all swollen from the tears and all that. So I drove straight to church. I'm a Catholic, and I went straight to the chapel. It was just me in the church, in the chapel, and facing the Blessed Sacrament. And I was like, I've never been here for years, God. For months. Yes, for years. I've been beefing you, God. And I came to ask for mercy. Like, I've been trying to do these things my own way. God, show me mercy and give me a sign. I want a proof that you are actually God and you actually do exist. And that was my prayer. I got up and I left the church to my house. For the first time in a very long time, I slept like a child. Okay, so guys, the next morning I was good to go. I was okay. I was relieved in my mind. Like, you know, when you're beefing someone and you've dropped the beef. Imagine beefing God and you dropped the beef on his feet, and I've continued. So I decided to work in a remote place that very day. My very first visit in a pharmacy. I passed a pharmacy that the names looked so familiar, but that wasn't the location, you know. I went to do a U-turn and came back to the pharmacy, and lo and behold, it was the same owner. Baba held me. I was like, he's been looking for my number, where have I been? And then he sat down to give me his stories. This guy was obviously doing so well in Old Ojo Road. Government happened and he packed up. He told me that there were some days he literally would come to shop and beg for money to go back to his house because he wasn't making sales as a pharmacist. You know, he shared a lot of stories. I mean, he's been dealing with a lot. Government happened to him at the point of retiring after serving for, I think, 35 years. He had less than 1 year. He had nothing in his name. No house, no establishment. The pharmacy was in a rented apartment that he couldn't even renew. He was staying in a rented apartment. He had children in school. He said one day he woke up and he was asking God, is that how it was going to be after serving him, you know, for a very long time? He kept asking God questions. Every morning he would wake up and he asked God questions. He said he had a landed property, and the only thing he wished to do was to go sell it and relocate his family to the east. So the day he made up his mind to even go check the location and sell it, something happened, which is a very long story that I'm not here to share. But someone that had worked for government for almost 35 years of his life, that has owned a pharmacy for how long, decided to let God happen to him, and God intervened. Baba said under 3 months he erected that building I was saying, both his house, his pharmacy. He had shops that people were, you know, paying for. Everything happened in 3 months. That was his testimony. God needed me to know that yes, he existed. I didn't work again. I left from that shop back to church, and I told God I was going to key into this testimony. He must happen to me same way he happened to Baba. After praying, I went home and realized that Pastor Nathaniel Bassel was doing, I know a couple of you know this Hallelujah Challenge. For the first time in my life, I keyed into the Hallelujah Challenge. And the only thing I told God was, it would be really embarrassing for LinkedIn to congratulate me again on the same row. 10 years no, I don't want that. And we normally would do our media reviews, yearly reviews, and all of those. And I told God, I don't want to go back to that review still the same way, on the same position. So it's either an upgrade where I am, or he takes me out and upgrades me outside. It was just my prayer point for that night. And after that point, after that prayer, I decided to let God happen. And he showed up. Few weeks later, my boss called me and told me that he would want me to apply for a position that came out if I wanted to. I didn't give him a yes. I didn't give him a no. I went back to church and I told God that the position has come out. And I don't want to apply and the same cycle repeats itself again. If he really wants me to apply, he should give me reasons why I should. That very day, before night, calls I was receiving from top people volunteering to coach me on the role. In fact, everybody had my back in the company. People outside, some coaches I met online that wanted me to pay a certain amount of money started DMing me, and it was just for free, guys. I decided to reapply, and that was it. The interview stages, I think we had 2 interview stages, and truth be told, of all the countless interviews I've been to, this particular one was the wackiest, if there's any English like that. I didn't perform my best. You know, when after every interview you pat your back. In fact, I've gone for an interview that the person that linked me or called to tell me how proud he was of my performance, and they didn't call me back. I'd gone for some who sent me emails how confident I was, how they wanted someone like me on the role, and they eventually won't call me back. But this, after the interview, I knew I messed up. I called one of my bosses and I started crying. I mean, this is not me. I knew how to answer these things, but I couldn't even answer some of these questions that I knew ordinarily. And that was God wanting to let me know that it wasn't by my power, it wasn't my efforts, it was Him doing what He knows how best to do. So I called my boss and I broke down. I started crying. And my boss spoke while Yoruba. Asked me if I knew what the Yoruba meant. I said no. And he interpreted. Literally, it meant, if God says it's yours, allow God to do His work. Kind of. I went home. I baited. I slept. And we're here today. Okay, so when I eventually got the role, I DM'd Pastor Nathaniel Basse. And I told him, Hallelujah Challenge came through for me. And he replied, God came through for you. In all those, say hi guys, say hi guys. Hi guys. Okay, so in all those, my going for prayers and all that, praying to God and asking for mercy, had given God, I had promised that if I eventually got the promotion, I was going to testify to the whole world. I mean, I testified on my secondary school platform to people that knew me on a personal, yeah. But this is me coming out to tell you guys, to tell someone and to inspire someone today that God is still in the business of doing miracles. He breaks protocols and He's an impossibility specialist. So does God exist? The answer is yes, guys. And I believe I've encouraged you with Mavis's story and my own testimony. Thank you guys. Bye.